Welcome to A Night with a Medium, starring Tessa Del Zappo. Broadcasting live from the Yowawa Media Studios high above the beautiful city of Niagara Falls, New York. Thank you for joining us, and we welcome each of you for a spirit-filled evening.
Hey everybody.
Night with a Medium, starring Tessa Del Zappo. Broadcasting live from the Yowawa Media Studios high above the beautiful city of Niagara Falls, New York. Thank you for joining us, and we welcome each of you for a spirit-filled evening.
Hey everybody.
Night with a Medium, starring...
Oh my God.
This is funny. What?
I know. This is so funny. I love it. Okay, anyways. Hi. Gotta love...
I think we are high.
We might be. You gotta love production, right? It's always something. But our technology, in our defense, has been a little crazy today, and does go a little bit crazy with our show because I work with energy and spirit, and I really believe that they like to mess with us. So there we go. They just wanted to hear my name said over and over and over. So Peter, as if you don't hear me enough or see me enough, there you go. You're welcome.
I've got you on 4 screens doing 4 different things. It's great because there's a time delay.
If you look around the studio, there's just Tessa and Tessa and Tessa and Tessa. This is amazing. So anyways, hello everybody. Very excited for tonight. I have a friend of mine. Her name is Itzel, and she is known as a Cirque du Soleil performer, and she's also been on the NBA halftime shows. She's amazing. She's a beautiful soul. I consider her a friend of mine. She's actually, to be honest with you, when I started doing hoop and with my casino show that I have, I close my show with a hoop performance. She's really one of the people I would watch, and we talk a lot about that in our interview, but I would watch her and the way she performs, and she was really like an inspiration of mine for a very long time, and still to this day is. She's also extremely intuitive. I've done readings for her, and in the interview, which you'll see in a moment, we talk about her. As a performer, you have to have stage presence, and she has the most epic entrances whenever she enters a stage. And I promised her that we would play a clip of her walking on stage and performing a little bit. So right before the interview, actually right now, Peter, right? We're going to show a quick clip. So Itzel, here you go. I found the clip. Here she is.
She's an international performer who has showcased her incredible skills in over 25 countries around the world, and she was a feature act on the touring Cirque du Soleil production. Heat up. Please welcome the lovely Ms. Itzel Salvatierra.
She's amazing.
Oh, it's incredible.
She's amazing. There's a good clip of you, Itzel, and I can't wait to share this interview that we did together. We talk about anything from just life as a performer, which all of you know that most of my show is about that because that's also part of my life is being a performer and entertainer, and I find that entertainment and intuition kind of go hand in hand. And so here's a cool interview about her life story, how she began, a little bit about her, what she has coming up. And then at the end of the show, I am going to take your calls live, do some questions, and have our usual fun. I'm doing
I'm
well.
good.
Thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course. Thanks for
Yeah,
inviting me. Thanks for
absolutely.
having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. I was thinking, with what I do with my podcast, you know me because I'm a medium and I've done kind of a reading for you in the past and we've talked.
Yes.
But what I also do as a performer is I like to kind of showcase people in all different types of entertainment, so I've done actresses and dancers and Broadway people and you now, which I'm really excited about. And so I can't wait to learn a little bit more about you.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Excited
absolutely.
about this.
Yeah. How was your class today?
It was good. I actually had 2 classes.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, tiring day. Yeah, I had this
Oh,
aerial hoop class and then a flexibility class as well.
that's
And body
awesome.
control. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to get out your way. I would love to come and work with you.
Yeah, come here. Yeah, I
I
have this
know.
space and I have that facility to have people here for like a week or something, and they have like training vacation in this beautiful paradise where I live, Puerto Vallarta. Such a
Yes.
beautiful place. I'm in love with this place.
I bet. I bet. And it's got to be so nice because so many places are closed and you have your own space to do this. And so, because even for me, like, as you know, I'm not at the level you are, that's for sure, but I do Lyra and I do some
Mhm.
aerial arts. But, everything here was closed for so long. Now
I
they're
know.
reopening, but it's really difficult to get in anywhere, with the
Yeah.
capacity and whatever. So hopefully,
Yeah,
I would
it's so
love to come
hard.
your way.
That's one of the reasons why so much people move to Las Vegas, because in Vegas they open all gyms and stuff as soon as quarantine was over back in May.
Yes.
Basically, all the studios open.
Yeah.
And everybody moved to Vegas and we moved out. When everybody came, we are like, oh, we gotta go. This is getting fun, but we gotta go.
I know.
Yeah, there's
I
so
know.
many circus artists right now in Vegas because I mean that's Circus Central in America right now.
It is. I know. I was just talking to somebody about Vegas and talking about maybe one day moving that way because once I get my show back on a stage, what I'm really trying to do is push it that way, right? So yeah, I bet you're tired. I think the one thing that I connected with you with, however long ago it was that we first talked, you're a mom.
Couple years, I'll say already.
Couple
Well,
years already, crazy, right? But I found it interesting because you're a mom and you're also an aerial artist. Your career has been amazing, right? So tell me a little bit, let's start off talking a little bit about your career. How did you get into aerial arts? Like what drew you? How did you know that you wanted to do it or that you could do it?
yeah. Well, I had no idea. I've always knew I wanted to be an artist. That's one
Yeah.
thing. Like since forever. I was 5 years old or 3 years old, and I knew I was going to be an artist. I didn't know what kind of artist. I used to say like I was going to be an actress, and I was going to be a dancer, a singer. I don't even sing, but I say, yeah, I'm going to be a singer. I just wanted to be famous,
Yeah.
I know I always loved dancing, and that was my games. Since I was a child, I would get in front of the mirror and get all these props that use like a microphone kind of thing, and just all the props. And that was my games. It was always about like acting, dancing, or doing some type of art.
Yes.
When I started growing up, I saw how hard it was, and I almost thought it was gonna be impossible.
Yeah.
And I didn't have circus in my mind because I don't know. They even here in Mexico, they even call like to ser cirquero. Like you tell someone like, oh, you have to go to school and study hard, otherwise you're gonna be a cirquero. Cirquero is a circus artist.
Right.
Like if it was a bad thing or something, like it kind of despective.
Yes.
So it never crossed my mind that I could do circus and that is amazing and that it's the best art of all of them. It combines so many things.
Yes.
But I didn't know. And then I was living here in Puerto Vallarta, actually. That was in 2005, I think, or 2005, 2006, or in between. And I was teaching gymnastics in some gymnastics studio. And I think I did some trip to Canada, so I lost some of my hours. So when I came back, I had very, very little job, and I had these people coming in the gym, coming for training, And I was talking to them, like they were adults. I was teaching kids, but there's this group of adults coming to the gym, and they say they were trying to open this circus team. Because by then in Puerto Vallarta, there was zero circus. Like circus didn't even exist in here. Nobody knew, nobody did. There was no circus at all. And then this guy who came, he joined a dancing crew. And they have like every week, you know, this is a touristic place. So everybody presents in hotels mostly, like the work here is mostly in hotels.
Yep.
And they have this one night of like, I don't know, Broadway show. And then this other night, like Caribbean show. And then they start making this one night of circus with that people. But they really wanted to do a just circus team, you know, do one thing that was circus, and it will present in different hotels differently than this dancing crew that was in one hotel, and they were doing one night this show, this other night this show, this, you know, they wanted to be just circus and be jumping on different hotels.
Yes.
So they knew I was a gymnast. They saw me jumping there and everything. So they asked me if I wanted to join, and I was like, what? Circus? I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It looks so hard, because I mean, I saw them doing their stuff, and I'm like, that looks impossible. And they're like, no, there's no way, like you can do it. And I'm like, okay, I need money. Like I say, I lost some of my hours. So I was like, okay, I'll try it, right?
Yeah.
Why not? I already had my oldest daughter. She was like 5 by then. She's 18 now. Imagine. Time really flies.
It does.
So I started training with them, and very soon, like it was something like a week, and I was in love with it. I was like, it was just so easy for me, and it looks so impressive. Like when I saw it, I was like, that looks impossible. And then when I tried, it was so easy for me that I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. And it was really like 1 month of training. We were all like just watching videos and doing our own thing, like creating our own thing. It was 1 month before I was on stage. And basically my career was on stage.
Yeah.
I made myself on stage.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. And I wasn't really sure that that's what I wanted to do until the guy who was directing the team, he asked me, like, have you seen Cirque du Soleil? Yeah. And I'm like, no. I mean, I heard about them, but I've never seen a full show or anything. And he was like, what do you mean? How dare you? And this is the way I feel when I ask about Cirque du Soleil and someone is like, I don't know Cirque du Soleil. I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
How dare you?
Yeah.
So he gave me like 3 or 4 CDs. CDs, imagine.
Yeah, I know. What are those?
I think he gave me Barikai, he gave me Dralion, he gave me Alegria, and he gave me Kidam, which was the first one I saw, Kidam. Yeah. And it's my all-time favorite. I love it so much, so much. So I saw Kidam one night. I'm like, okay. I was so in love with what's happening. Like, just is this show? It's actually the show that dragged me in, because Kidam is I'm a very passionate. Like I was gonna say dramatic. Well, yeah, I kind of dramatic.
Definitely dramatic in a good way.
Dramatic, you know. And this is Kidam. You know, Kidam is like the first show of Cirque du Soleil that went from being like big and like all the colors and this, it went like super dark, like super dramatic. Yeah. Like characters were more like people, you know, like it was more theatrical. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I like this. And then I saw this Silk act. Everybody's seen this act in Kidam, the Silk act, right? Yeah. Yeah. With Isabel Chassé, I think that's her name. Oh my God, so beautiful. And it was so simple. Like seriously, what she was doing was so simple. But I mean, she's a contortionist. Anything she does looks amazing. Yeah. It was so simple, but so slow and felt it. And then suddenly she goes crazy and lose her hair. And I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. And I want to do that forever. That's when I saw that act, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. This is the kind of artist I want to be, because it's really, she's acting. She's dancing, and at the same time, she's doing acrobatics and something super risky. Like there's no other act that combines so many arts at the same time, you know? So
it's like, true. Yeah. And it's so crazy. Like, I don't think people understand when they watch it, like, okay, so for you, for example, when they watch you on Lyra, because that's really, I think most people know you, right? Like for the Lyra, especially, you're a spinner. I love it. I don't know. you're on there, but crazy in a good way. But they don't understand, like, you can do the moves and you could be technically really good, but if you don't put the acting and the passion into it, it's not a show. Like it's cool, you know, it's like, wow, you know, you're
sports.
Right.
It's just sports.
But I really think Lyra, you know, silks, because with Lyra you have the spin, you know, the silks, for anybody who's seen, you know, if anybody knows the circus arts, you know, the silks are those long things, and it's the like
curtains, that some people call them the curtains.
The curtains, yes. And it's like that takes a lot of drama and a lot of acting too, because it's slower, you know, it's very dramatic. And then the hoop, the Lyra, it's kind of
so dynamic, which is the reason why I switched, because I started with silks, obviously. So I started with silks and hand to hand.
Yes.
And then I started training hoop right before I got pregnant with my second kid. And it was the spinning that draws me so much to it. Like I liked it so much, and I'm like, oh my God, I think I like this better than silks.
Yes.
It was maybe a year after I started doing circus.
Yeah.
Then I got pregnant, so I bought my hoop. I did like a couple trainings and then realized I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And so I stopped it, because I mean, you don't want to learn a new discipline when you're in that condition, right?
Right.
Just keep doing what you know, what you do, but yeah, you don't really go for new stuff. And so the way I kept going, because I really wanted to do the hoop. Well, of course, I started we had trouble because I was pregnant, and they took my job away. Of course, I was not gonna get paid, but they also took the job away from my couple in that moment, the father of my son. So we were both like, I'm pregnant and like this, you know. So I decided I was gonna open my own company so I could have work, you know. Do something.
Yes.
And so I started finding people. I started looking for people, and I started training them. And I found this very talented girl. She never did any aerial. She was a fire spinner, but she has she was very flexible, very strong, and she was such an artist, you know, herself, like she was an artist. And I'm like, that's the one. And my whole pregnancy, I taught her Lyra. So I didn't even know how to do it, but I was like, you know, checking on things that I like seeing her, and then checking videos, and like just made her this whole routine. But I was just teaching her, show me how to do it. So as soon as my son was born, like after a month, I went on the hoop and did her routine like that. Like I knew exactly what to do. So I learned hoop by teaching someone during my pregnancy.
It's so crazy, because it's funny the way you say that, because I didn't do Lyra up until a couple years ago, really. I think probably right around the time that I've talked to you, right? So a couple years, 3 years maybe. Yeah. But I was a gymnast, and I did competitive gymnastics for many years until I hurt my wrist, and I set it aside. But I was a dancer since I was 3. And then I was known for like the contortion and the acro and dance. And then I'm watching, and I'm just like, I've always been drawn to Cirque du Soleil. My mother wouldn't let me leave when I was 19, 20. I wanted to go to New York. I wanted to go to Vegas. I wanted to follow that and do what I wanted to do. She wouldn't let me. She wanted me to go to college. But when I finally, after I had the kids, I was like, I really want to do that. And I have no idea how. It looks really hard, but I know how to do this, this, and this. So it can't be that bad. And I remember like walking in, and I would watch routines, and I would watch people. And then I walked in one day, and I just did it. And there was people, and they were like, oh, how long have you been doing it? And I was like, this is my first time on a hoop.
And they're like, what?
They're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just this, like, if you have it, you have it, I think. And I think it being it, like you said, you're a gymnast, and you're just a performer. You were born to perform. So you hand a tool and you perform it, and that's it. And I've seen your work. You're amazing. I mean, you literally are just like mesmerizing to watch, and it's phenomenal. And I give you a lot of credit too. And I want to bring this up. You know, one of the things we connected on is being a mother, and the struggle is real. You know, you have kids, and your body changes, and finances, and blah, blah, blah. And you have to work extra hard, but you have that passion behind you to drive you to, you know, you said starting your own business and getting on stage and all of that. And I don't think people realize how hard that is as a mother, a single mother. And you just kind of exploded into that, which is amazing. Now I've seen, you know, you've done, I know on your profiles and everything, Joya, right? Is that one of the Cirque du Soleil?
Joya.
And then Le Noir, right? So the dark side of Cirque, and then you've done NBA halftime.
I also did Kidam, actually, like my favorite show of all times. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I did. It was amazing when they called me because, well, I just told you that was like the show that made me decide I wanted to do circus. So when they called me, that was my second project with Cirque du Soleil. First time they called me for a special event in Kazakhstan. And then next year they called me for Kidam, and I just couldn't. I'm like, this can't be happening. Oh my God, this is such a dream come true. And I was so lucky because Kidam is gone now. Kidam was on tour for 28 years, and now it's gone. So I'm so lucky to be in part. And I was also the only Mexican in those 28 years. Well, not only Mexican because there was a singer, but the only Mexican acrobat in that show. In that 28 years.
Yeah.
So it was so nice when they put up the Mexican flag in the tent. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, that's got to be such a good feeling. It's amazing. So I think there is a huge, like you said before, there's a misconception about the circus. Like, what does that mean? What is a circus performer? Like, for the longest time, there was so many misconceptions about that, you know? And if you look back to long time ago, circus was like the freaks or the outcasts or the whatever, right?
Exactly.
And
I love that you're touching that because I want to say something.
It's true. Yeah, absolutely. I'll lead you into it and then you can take the stage. But like, people viewed them as outcasts, and it's so odd because I think a lot of performers in general, no matter what area you're in, you do kind of sometimes feel like an outcast. And I have a theory about that on my own end, about the intuition. Like, you know, me, I'm a medium. I believe you have a level of intuition as well. And I think having that level of understanding and empathy and whatever, you kind of ride on a different frequency than, you know, you're on a different frequency sometimes, and you do sometimes feel like an outcast. And when you're that talented and you can fall into something like Cirque, like the circus, you know, that's why movies like The Greatest Showman that just came out recently, right? It kind of showcases it as this coming together and this amazing, like, talent and a connection in some way.
I totally agree with you. I just, what I wanted to say is because this is something that I've seen lately. I've been doing circus for 15 years now, right? And at the beginning, I think the reason why I fell in love so much of circus was also not just because you mix arts, but also that fact that is like, circus is for the freaks. I'm a freak, you know, like I'm always like, because I tried before circus, I did musical theater, and I did dancing as well, not just gymnastics. Yeah, gymnastics was my main, but I did a lot of theater and dancing, and martial arts as well. Martial arts it's a side, but what I found in theater, acting, and dancing was that they really like my work, but I will never get like good main characters or anything because of my profile. You know, I'm super short. I'm dark. I don't know, you know, like I'm just not what they will take as, even though they thought I was amazing, and they always told me, oh, you're so amazing, but they will give me whatever part because I didn't feel in the profile that they needed.
Right.
So when I find circus, and that doesn't really matter in those days, because that's what I want to talk now.
Right.
It really didn't matter. It was amazing because I'm like, I can just be myself, and they still appreciate the talent and actually take me for main characters the whole time and do these things because it just matters the talent.
Right.
Because circus is for the freaks, and you saw that movie. That's where it come from. It was born because of it. Just all these super talented people that are put down because of the way they look, of where they from, or wherever. Is like, this is your space. Like, get it. And I thought that was so great, but there was not so much circus when I started. Like I said, I'm here in Mexico. I mean, there's a lot of traditional circus, you know, which is different than the contemporary circus. That is what I do, or you do, or Cirque du Soleil do. That is contemporary. Right. So circus has been a big thing in Mexico forever, but not contemporary circus. So I'm really one of the few that started circus in Mexico. That kind of circus, but now it's so much people in the world doing, like, everybody does circus. Like, it went so popular that for that reason, they're starting to be the same way. Like, they're going for the stereotypes. They're just like, you know, it's changing so much, which is a little bit sad, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, like, circus is for the freaks.
Exactly.
Give it to us back. Come on.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
Yeah, but now, now it's getting super hard again because, like I say, there's so many people doing it, and they just want, like, okay, they take for aerialists, they want like this super long leg contortionist, and, you know, like, they're starting to take these stereotypes. Like Cirque du Soleil, last time I talked to them, they're like looking for me to do just partner work, you know, just to be a flyer. Even though I already did 3 times solo work with them, I feel like they probably wouldn't give me that again because of the profile and because it's so much people doing it, you know. Now they're like last year they asked me for Humanity to do hand-to-hand in Humanity.
Yeah.
But I was in the process of green card, so I didn't have my green card, so I couldn't do it.
Right.
But I was like, dude, I know you just needed this an aerialist for this show, and then you took this girl that is amazing on hand-to-hand when I'm here in Vegas, and then you grab me for hand-to-hand when I'm like, I'm not that good in hand-to-hand, and you take her in as an aerialist, which is good, but like, she's so much better in hand-to-hand, you know what?
Yeah.
And it's all for the stereotype. Just for the profile.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that sucks. Like, circus shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
well, it's getting that way.
Yeah, it's hard. I had the same conversation just about being a woman in entertainment and kind of the different categories. Like, you have to look a certain way, talk a certain way, whatever it might be. And it's very difficult sometimes in entertainment, and things did ease up, and, you know, there's definitely more leeway, but I could totally understand. And for you, if anybody knows you and your talent, you belong up in the air. Not that you're not good, you're fantastic in everything you do, really. I mean, I've seen everything, but your passion is there, you know, your passion is in the air, and that's where you belong. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that, you know, and, you know, I hope you get back up in the air and that they will take you as that, because that's where you should be. But I also hope that stages open up and we could get that back, because I've heard a lot of things about.
Exactly, to start, right? Just open.
Can we just open the stages? Is that your son? He's so cute. Hi.
Yeah, that's my son.
Oh, how sweet. Hi, sweetie. Now, is he the one that you see where you're teaching him to do stuff as well?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have 2 boys, and so
this is the one that was in my belly when I learned Lyra.
oh, there you go. So that's why. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, my son's are showing.
He's such an artist too. Like, he was born an artist.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny because my son, well, both of my sons are very into, like, they love the gymnastics and they love martial arts and very much into it. And you could see the artist side of them coming out too. So it's really cool, you know, as a mom, to watch them grow and be able to kind of hand them the tools and whatever they need to follow their passion, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I see him, he's super intrepid. Like, since he was a baby, he loves to, like, climb stuff and I'm always looking at him and I'm like, I get so nervous even though I do these things. I'm like, but I never told him no. I was just like, I'm gonna look away, you look at him. Make sure he's fine, because I'm like, otherwise I'm looking at him and I will say, like, get down. Yeah. And I don't want to do that, you know, like, how am I gonna do that? Yeah.
It's so funny because now, like, my parents would always get nervous with what I did, whether it be gymnastics or even now, like, if they see me up on something, a hoop or whatever, and they're like, you know, you better be careful, and they're all worried, and I'm like, I'm fine. Then you see your kids doing it and you're like ready to pull your hair out.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, I get it now. I get what you mean.
Exactly. Because whatever, but your kids, oh my God.
I know. I give you so much credit for everything you've done and how much you do. And how did you get into, because you also perform halftime shows for the NBA. Yeah. How did that happen?
That was really, it was so much luck, but to be honest, it was so much luck, or it was sent from the sky. From the sky for me. Yeah. You know how this works.
I do.
I just arrived to Vegas. So I met in Lenoir. I did Lenoir in 2017 in Reno. And then I met my now husband in that contract. So that was in August when the contract finished. By like January next year, he's like, just come to Vegas with me, just move here, because he was coming to Mexico, visit and leaving, and it was just super hard, you know?
Yeah.
So I moved to Vegas in January, at the end of January. And then I think in February, some friend that I was living in the house with my husband. Well, he wasn't my husband by then, but he was living with other guys there. And one of the guys was his birthday, so he did this little party somewhere. And then we're just talking to people here and there, and then someone is like, "Hey, you and you, meet each other." And I'm like, "Okay." And there was this guy. He's an agent, Rafael. He's an amazing guy. I love him. And we start talking, and he said like, "Okay, so I have this." He had Sophie Dossi, you know Sophie Dossi?
Yes.
He had her, but she was just getting out of that contract or whatever she had with them. So he was looking into the replacement of her. I didn't even know Sophie Dossi by then.
Yeah. And anybody who doesn't know Sophie Dossi, she is known as a contortionist. She does Lyra. I've seen her on Lyra. She performed it for America's Got Talent.
And handstands.
And handstand, yep.
She's extra talented and beautiful.
Absolutely.
And he told me like, well, he was looking for the replacement, and he told me a little bit how it was and this and that. And I just saw it so, because he told me it's in October. The season will start in October. That was like February. So I look like this is not going to happen. Like he's just talking, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, sure. Because even my visa, I had a work visa, and it was going to finish in August. So by October, I wasn't even going to be here or anything, you know. So I was like, I wasn't really taking it too serious, but I thought it was really exciting because he was so excited to meet me. Because I don't know, for some reason, my energy, I don't know what, because he didn't even see my work, and he was like, "You're the person I'm looking. You're the person I'm looking for. I'm sure, like I can see it, I can feel it. You're the person I'm looking for." And I'm like, why? Like he hasn't even seen my work. Why is he saying that, you know? But I don't know. He's an agent, you know. He works with so many artists around the world. Like he knows. Yeah. So he knew, and I just didn't really believe it. I was just like, okay. So we stayed in touch. I gave him my mail and whatever. And he kept texting like every couple months just to keep me, you know, there, like, "You're fine, I'm there." Yeah, okay. He lives in Canada. So I went and did a contract in Canada, in Niagara Falls. And he came to see the show, and he was just like, "It's just amazing. Like, you just came on stage. You didn't do anything, and people was like going crazy already for you just because how you enter stage." And I knew it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
it is the most epic thing to see you walk on at the NBA. You have the most epic entrance, like just your poses and your face. It's so amazing. Like literally, I wonder if Peter, I want to put a clip of her walking on at some point.
Yeah, you totally have to put that way.
It's so good. But you know what? That's the truth. It's not, I said it before, it's not about, because you're so talented, but it's not just about that. You have to have the performance aspect and the acting and the face and the whole persona, and you have all of that.
Yeah, that energy that gets people to drown. Yeah, like this sides and stuff. Yeah, that time was so funny. I'll tell you about it. I'm just telling you about how I got in. So it was like he saw me. That was like, I don't know, June, July, something like that. And then my visa was gonna finish, so I was gonna leave. But then my boyfriend at the time, he's like, "No, you're not leaving. We're getting married." Yeah. And I'm like, all right.
You're like, yes, let's go.
Yeah, that was really the only way I could actually stay anyway.
Yeah.
So, but that trapped me in the States for like almost 2 years more. Yeah, it trapped me. I say that because I couldn't see my kids in all that time. That was super hard. But it's decisions you have to make in life that sometimes is like, this is the hard part of what I've done. There is so much sacrifices in between. Like people really don't understand the type of big, huge sacrifices I've done, that some people will even criticize me for doing them, you know, like leaving my kids behind. It sounds horrible, but you know what? Like now I have a way to give them so much more, because they're also in the way to get a green card. It's a door open for huge possibilities that were not there before doing this. So sometimes there's some decisions to take that are super hard, that doesn't seem like the best idea at the moment, but at the end they give fruit for sure.
Right.
They give yeah.
Yeah, and it's true. People don't
hard and whatever, but
yeah, people don't realize as an like to pursue entertainment as a career, it is just one sacrifice after another, and it is not for the faint of heart. Like you have to be super strong and passionate, and like,
especially
be ready
if you wanna live in a point, then you're actually a professional that can live from it and live well. You know, have a super nice life, and because there's so many artists, and it's like I did the first 10 years of being an artist. It was like sometimes sometimes there's not. Sometimes I'm eating frijoles, like beans, for 2 weeks, like literally, like it's that bad, you know.
Yeah.
But then to actually be like, I'm free, like I'm like I have a good life, I'm this and that. Like you have to go over the top, and there's a lot of sacrifices to do in this entertainment career. Well, you know.
You follow your passion. And it's worth it in the end. It's just
which is something that I always fight it. Like people who will tell me like, what about your kids? And your kids are like, I'm sure my kids want a happy mom that shows them to go for their dreams, to do what they're passionate about, and to get it, other than to have a frustrated mom that is like just there and poor forever without fulfilling her dreams, or you know what I mean? And they do. They're like, now they're grown-ups. My daughter is 18, my son is 12, and they're like, they have zero how do you say it, rancor against me leaving or anything. No, they're like appreciate it so much, they're grateful for it, they admire so much what I do, and they're doing the same. Like my daughter, she's 18, like I say, she's over age right now in Mexico. Yeah. And she's killing it so hard, like doing what she, like just working and working out and doing this because these projects, she's just like killing it. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a difference, you know, like they saw me always going for what I wanted no matter what, and believing in myself. And this is what they do. Like they believe in themselves. They know they can go for their dreams and make it true. They know it can happen. There's no doubt in their heads because they've seen it firsthand.
Absolutely. So, and you've done you've done a phenomenal job. And you know, people always have something to say. You could be doing really well, you could be doing really bad. Like it doesn't matter. People always have something to say. So it's better to just not listen. Yeah. Follow your passion.
They're not gonna feed you, right?
They're not.
Whatever they say.
They don't pay your bills, but you know,
it's pay my bills. Yeah.
And it's true. And it's true. Your kids, you've set, you know, a platform for your kids, especially your daughter too, you know, to look and be like, I could do that. You know, because like you said, when you were younger, you look at your career, like if you were to look back and tell your younger self, like, this is where I will be, you wouldn't believe it.
I wouldn't believe it.
No, you look at it and you're like, that's really hard. I don't think I could do that. Like, you know, so you're setting that tone for your daughter and for your son to be like, oh yeah, I could pretty much do anything. And that's the mindset that kids nowadays need. They need to know that they can pursue things, that if they follow their passion, it might be really hard, and not be afraid of falling and not be afraid of the struggle.
And taking risks.
Yeah.
Taking risks.
Yeah,
super important.
Absolutely. So you've raised amazing kids. You're doing amazing. What do you have coming up? Do you have anything cool coming up? Tell me.
Well, like I said, I've just moved like 3 months ago. I came here to Mexico and I opened my home studio, which is doing great. Like I have a lot of students now, and my online coaching. I got hacked as soon as I come to Mexico. My Instagram got hacked. I saw that. Yeah. That sucks so hard. Yeah. Because, you know, all my online business was through that. Like people will see me there, and then, well, it all went down. But thanks God, I'm following my account back up again super fast. Thanks God. And the online coaching is alive one more time. Yeah. And I also have this show coming up. I'm excited because I haven't been on stage forever.
I know.
Oh, God. And then I always said I was going to retire at 35. I'm 36.
No, you're not.
Yeah, and I feel like my time is like, girl, get on stage because, you know.
Yeah.
So there's this new show here in Puerto Vallarta opening. It's brand new. They actually just had their friends and family 2 weeks ago and their press show last week. And then they're going to have their first real show next week. And then next week, I'm on it.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I'm very excited because it's called Mayahuel, and it's a pre-Hispanic show, which is something that I always be so connected to. You know, I feel like I have Mayan blood in me somewhere. I like that. I know I don't, but I feel it. You know, like I feel
You never know.
it.
It could be a past life. You never
It's
know.
a past life. And I've been told that. I've been told that many times.
Yeah.
And they told me, and you were something. You were not just a Mayan. You were like some princess. I'm like, shut up. My name is Itzel. It's a Mayan princess.
Your name?
Yeah, my name is
Get out of
Itzel.
here.
Yeah. So when they told me that, I'm like, stop. Stop. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a Mayan name. I wasn't here to choose my name that my parents did, you know, like.
Yeah, but everything happens for a reason. I've been talking so much about past life connections, and I really believe that our past lives drive us and guide us into whether it be our careers, you know, things that we're interested in. And I do believe
mission too.
Mission. Yeah, it's our purpose. Like, you know, and I think we carry things on from life to life, and I think people come into our lives that have been in past lives with us, and that's where those soulmate connections come in, and the karmic connections. And
yes.
Your husband, is that what you said?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so crazy because you go through so much. This has been topics of mine lately, but you go through all of these things and you meet people that lead you to that final place where you know, like, that's the one, that's my soulmate. Yeah. You know, and when you get to that place, it's the most amazing feeling because you've worked so hard and you've gone through so much, and then you could finally appreciate that. And, you know, for I'm sure you feel this, but your soulmate and that person you're supposed to be with has definitely been with you through your past lives, you know.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I had that feeling from the beginning with my husband, and we've been told, like, actually it was really funny because that was one of the things that I'm like, I knew it. It kind of get us to stay together because we literally met, I think a week we had met. We were not even together yet. We were just kind of like going out a little bit, like a week. And we were, like I say, in Reno doing this contract. And in the weekend, we went to Lake Tahoe, just for the day.
Yeah.
And then we were in this restaurant, and then a girl comes and starts talking to him. But I couldn't hear, you know, I just saw his face being like, and I was a little bit like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, really. And I barely know this guy, so I don't know what's going on. And then he's like, oh my God, you should tell her something, like, you're good. He say that, you know? And
yeah.
He's not like me or you, that like you're a medium and you have this, he's not like that, you know? He's he's not like that. And so
he's more logical,
right? He was really impressed because she just came and started telling him, like, you know what, you're such a rebel, but don't let anyone to tell you that's wrong, because this is what you're supposed to do. You came here to, you know, like, she told her some, and a lot of things, that he's been in trouble a lot because of the way he is, and she was kind of encouraging to keep being that way. And he was like, wow, how do you know? So she was a waiter. And he told me, she left and he told me, and then she came back with a paper with her number, and she put it in my hand, and she told me, I have so much to tell you. If you're interested, call me. And she gave me her number, and I was like, okay, this is weird, but all right. And so we came back to Tahoe next week, and I called her, like, I want to know, you know.
Yeah, tell me.
I was actually getting so much into astrology. I'm still so much into astrology, but this is when I started to really be into astrology. And so we went to Tahoe, I saw her, and she didn't say anything. And by the way, I told her, okay, he's going to drop me off and we can talk. So she didn't really let him drop me off, because she came to the car, he put the window down, and she started talking from the window. I felt like she wanted him to listen. Yeah. What she had to say.
Yeah.
And she's one of the people who told me about this Mayan connection, and also the star. Like, I saw you, like, I had a dream of you, and you were like in a field, and you were dancing under the star. There's something crazy with you under stars. And this is the moment that I was being traumatic about stars, astrology, and this. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my God. And she told us pretty much, like, she didn't say it this way, but pretty much she said, like, you guys have to stick together. You have to stick together. Like, awesome. This is a path you have in front. And we just met for a week. So that was 2 weeks at that point. So it was very weird, you know, at that moment when she say, but she says so many things that in that moment maybe didn't make sense. But now after 3 years that we've been together, I'm like, oh my God. And we remember her with so much like love in our hearts, because everything she told us kind of opened up some understanding of things, and help me feel strong also where I go. Because a lot of things, when you're doubting, you feel, you think, but you don't know. And when someone like that comes and tell you, you're like, of course, I knew it. Usually, like, you do these things. So I'm sure people already know. When you talk to them, they know already. Yeah. It's so good to hear it, say, like, from someone else, and like reaffirm you, you know?
Absolutely. And that's that, however she works, you know, as a psychic or an intuitive, you know, the right people, the genuine people who have the same ability as me and as she does, obviously, you know, your goal should be to give whoever you're talking to validation and, you know, some healing or some closure, some answers to something. And you always want them to leave feeling better from you. You know, if they leave feeling better, then you've done your job. And it's so amazing because, like you said, you just know. And I'm super excited. Like, I've watched you and your husband. He's super talented. You're amazing. And the two of you together, when you perform together, is amazing. So anybody watching this needs to look you guys up and watch. I'm super excited.
People say they see us on top, and we're not even trying. Everybody's like, just the connection that you can see there is crazy. I'm like, really? We're so mad right now. We hate each other right now. And people can still be like, oh my God, you guys together are like something there.
It's like, so true. Yeah. If there's a connection, there's a connection. Yeah. It's so amazing. I'm really glad that we got to talk, and I love talking to you. You know, it's been a while, but I love that you came on. I'm super excited. I'm glad that we could kind of showcase who you are and your career and all of that stuff. And, so what I'm going to do too is I'll put, like, I'm going to obviously tag you in it. People can follow you and watch, you know, what the shows you have coming up. Yeah. So I'm very excited. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah. It's so amazing talking to you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. There was. She's awesome. So thank you again, Itzel, for being on. You're amazing. And I told her on the side, I'm like, you deserve to be showcased and celebrated. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. All right. So let's see. Second half of the show, I love taking your calls, your questions. I have a couple questions that, you know, people send me all the time. I get questions all the time. There's some that I just don't get to, you know, during the shows. I can only answer so much. But I do go through them, I do read them, and so I'm going to take some time in a moment to answer those for you before I start taking calls. I do want to address, because as I was rewatching the interview, I was realizing that there was, I don't know where they come from, but we get scammers. Mars, probably. We get these people that come on and they offer readings, and they scam, they message you on there. So if you have received a comment, I apologize. We usually try to jump on it, and Peter has jumped on it very quickly this time. So we've taken care of that. And every single time something like that happens, we block them. Anybody who is genuine, they will not reach out on somebody else's feed to try to get you to pay money for them. So keep that in mind going forward. We can't always prevent it, but we're definitely, I wish we had like a BB gun. Like a virtual BB gun.
Squirt gun, and we'll fill it with something foul.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna take a minute. I'm gonna answer some of the questions that I saw from last week and a couple other shows that I think they're really interesting, and a lot of people ask very similar questions. There's a lot of frequent questions that are asked about what I do as a medium, the paranormal, all of that. And then I will be taking calls. The call-in number is 716-226-0693. But Peter, I had given you a list of some from other shows. Give me one of them real quick that I'd like to.
Yeah, the first one is, what is it like to talk to the dead?
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. So I don't know how to explain it. To me, I guess it's seen as more normal because I've just known it my entire life. And as I got older, speaking with the dead, spirit, however you want to refer to it, it's part of who I am. And to me, it's an ability. So, it's anybody who has an ability of whatever sort. I mean, I carry it the same way. I do feel them around me all the time, pretty much. If I'm out in public, if I meet people, I pick up on things, but I don't necessarily, talk to them and acknowledge them all the time, especially if I don't know the person, especially if they haven't given me permission. There's kind of an etiquette that goes along with it. So I will never really, dive into somebody's personal information or any of that kind of stuff unless they give me permission to do so or ask me to do it. But really, it's just part of my life. It's part of who I am. And it's around me all the time. So those are really cool questions. I wrote a couple others down, so I'll get to them. Peter, what's another one?
Here's one that I think we should play this first. I see dead people.
Such a famous line.
I've seen the movie The Sixth Sense. Is it like that?
Kind of. Kind of yes and kind of no. As a kid, it was more like that, but not right now. I think The Sixth Sense, obviously, it's more of a Hollywood thing. It was portrayed differently. But when I was a kid, I did see things very vividly, just like what it's portrayed in that movie. And I believe that a lot of children, animals, they see it very clearly that way too, more of a solid, in-your-face type of thing, because they don't have the logic and the judgment that we obtain as we grow. So right now, no, I don't see them the way that you do in the movie The Sixth Sense. But I will say that, if I go to locations or I'm investigating or doing something like that, there has been occurrences where I've seen apparitions or things that have startled me because they are very vivid, but they come very quickly. It's not anything that lingers around the way that you see in the movies or anything like that.
I think Hollywood does influence a lot of things that people see or perceive about the things you do, people in the paranormal industry, etc.
Oh, yeah. It's very misconstrued, I think, and, talking about, you see all the time, demons and negative things. And, there is an element of what I do or just, connecting with spirit in general that can be startling or scary sometimes or just depending on the situation. But it's definitely played up a lot. I don't come across demons and stuff like that the way that it's portrayed in movies and such. So,
they're more with the IRS.
I come across scarier people, like living people, than I do people who have passed or spirit or entities in that sense. So.
Hey, I want to share from the message board. Allison Dunn is mentioning she's new here.
Oh,
and
hi,
Maria
Allison.
Judith is new here. And everyone new and old, not old by age, but we're just so glad you're here with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I love having new people. Thank you for joining. And to those of you who tune in every week, thank you so much for supporting me. I want to make sure, I swear, I should just have like a repeat thing that happens. There's the call-in number. I hope I didn't mess up my Bluetooth again.
Let me know if you did, and I'll...
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out. You know what would be really fun one night, Tessa? And it would be one of those shows we could do if you have something happening on a Thursday, but people could give their favorite scene from a Hollywood movie. There was Ghost.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And Whoopi Goldberg's character. But we could take that scene, we could show the scene, and then get your take on it. And people could ask about scenes they've seen in movies.
Yeah.
What do you think, folks? If you like that idea.
I like that idea.
I think it would be really fun because I've always maintained whether it's history, social issues, etc. Hollywood influences everything like that.
It does. It's funny because I've been referencing the movie Ghost a lot recently, but Whoopi Goldberg playing Oda Mae Brown is probably one of my favorite, Hollywood portrayed medium characters, I guess you can call it, ever. She just kills that role. And I learned more recently that the reason she had that role, Patrick Swayze refused to do the movie unless they hired Whoopi Goldberg to play that part.
I heard 90% of women refused to see the movie unless Patrick Swayze played his part. So there you go.
There you go. It works both ways. All right. I don't know if we can put Facebook up on here so I could see comments.
Oh, yes.
Like
Yes, let me get that ready for you here. I'm going to shrink that down. And don't forget the phone-in line is 716-226-0693. That's 716-226-0693.
Oh, there's a good question right there.
There's a question. I can hear, see, smell. I can hear, see, feel, smell, sense of spirit, and transfiguration.
Okay. No, that's a good question, and it's another one that I get often, and I always say that spirit will manipulate or use your senses in order to get your attention, to relay a message. For me as a medium, I work as a clairvoyant, meaning I can see them, and clairaudient, meaning I can hear them, but also as an empath, and I'm sure many of you, because many people have empathic abilities and you would understand this, but you can feel them too. So, however they pass, the way that I can understand how they pass is because they make me feel stuff as well, whether it be like a pain somewhere, or I've created a little dictionary in my head of what means what so that I can relay messages. I just saw Joshua is on here. He is part of Animal Paranormal, and I will be on his show coming up, I think next week sometime. So hi, Josh. Thank you so much for having me on more recently on your show. And yeah, back to that question, I want to say that if you feel like you felt something, smelled something, saw it, and you think it is spirit or a loved one or whatever it might be, you're absolutely right. I always say trust your intuition. They will use all your senses to communicate with you. Peter, what is another one of the questions that somebody had asked from a prior week?
Okay.
I know there is a lot of them.
Actually, we've got Stephanie Garrison Good says, do you have a message from me about Jim? She says, I ask every week about Jim, which she does. And some with the volume of people, that's what happens, Stephanie, is that we just don't get to every question. But for Stephanie Garrison Good, have you got any presence of Jim?
Can you bring me to her comment? Is it there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So, you want to know from Jim. What I get immediately, it's odd because I feel like there was a lot of questions you had specifically, Stephanie, about either his passing or for him. What I saw could also be symbolic for that you feel like you didn't have communication with him near the end, whether you just didn't get to talk to him before he passed or there was a lack of communication in whatever way you understand that. I always say how you understand it. And so I feel like there's this sense of like a lot of questions like you have. And so it's leading me to believe, as I'm starting to pick up on things, that his passing was quick or in an unexpected way. And I do feel that he suffered because what they just showed me was there's separate things going on. And so I feel like it was either he was like sick from something or there was something happening here, but ultimately this over here is what took him. So maybe that's where the questions are coming in, like what happened or why did this happen? So I do want you to know that, and I relay this to pretty much everybody because it's a consistent answer, but, spirit is okay. They're always around you. They are at peace regardless of what they went through here in the physical world. So I do want to say that he's around you. But I do feel like there's a lot of questions, and if that is correct, you can feel free to always contact me privately to do a private reading as well, and we could definitely kind of dive into that more on a personal level. But do know that he's around you. Okay, so thank you so much for asking that. All right.
I'll just announce the number one time. 716-226-0693, the call-in number. Do you want another one from the list?
Sure. Go ahead.
Do dead people bother you all day? Play the sound effect again?
My kids bother me all day. That's for sure. They never stop. I have personally learned to block and to be able to center myself to where I don't feel quote unquote bothered all day long anymore. But if you were to go back to my younger years, I absolutely was. It was all day. It was in the morning. It was when I was trying to fall asleep. It was if I went out to a store. And so I did learn to kind of block that. And so honestly, I said my kids bother me, which is really funny, but I've started picking up that my one son picks up on spirit, and I said that kids see them more vividly than we do. And so I've noticed that he picks up on it, and then he'll come and talk to me about it. So even though I've blocked it, I'm seeing it with my son. And so, yeah, I mean, it is a part of my everyday life because it's who I am. It's what I do every single day. But dead people don't necessarily bother me all day long. It's not like the movies. I did see that Stephanie responded, and you say that the answer applies to everybody, nothing specific. One of the reasons why I made it general for you specifically is because I feel like you're looking for a lot of information. And when things like that happen, I always tell people that it's better to do it in a personal reading rather than here, because I don't jump into anything very personal on here. I keep my readings very short, which also helps me to reach more people. So if you have any more questions for me and you'd like a more in-depth reading, you can contact me for a personal reading. Let's see. I know there was somebody who wrote something. I don't know where it was.
Was it this one?
I don't know. I love the questions that you guys ask. Oh, right there. It was for Kayla. Okay, so Kayla said, does an Alan or an Agnes come through for me? I ask every week to totally understand the high volume. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so same thing, Kayla. It's just hard to get to everybody. Okay, Alan or Agnes. So one of them is giving me, it's so weird. There's something up here in my eyes or in the head area, but they're directing me here, and it really made my eyes go blurry for a moment. So I don't know if somebody had trouble seeing because they're acknowledging like I can see again. So, but literally my eyes feel like they're watering and they're blurry for some odd reason. So whoever this is, I'm not sure which one who would have had issues seeing. But it's also up in the head too, so there might have been a lot going on up here, and it would have affected their ability to see near the end. Because I keep feeling like they literally like went like that, and then my eyes went back to normal, and they keep saying like I feel better now. Like, can you let her know that I'm back to being, you know, who I was, and I'm back to my normal self. I don't know if I keep feeling like, I think you said Alan was the first name. For some reason, I keep getting drawn to him, and I feel like he's in a very, I always have spirits stand in different positions for me to allow me to understand who they are, and he feels like a father figure. He stands in a very father-like stance for you, and I feel like I keep getting pain in the chest there, and I keep feeling like this hit him really quickly. So I don't know if I am with Alan here, because I do feel two different people, but I keep getting in the chest, and that it happened very quickly. And so I don't know. I always say things can be either symbolic or literal, and it's up to you to let me know which one it is, because you know them, I don't. I'm just working as the medium and to deliver the message. So I don't know if the seeing has something to do with, because it happened so quickly, you weren't able to see him before he passed, or if it really was like a physical condition that happened with him. But he said I passed from something here in the chest. He directed me toward what feels like the heart, so I just want to let you know that he is around you. So I hope you understand that. He's definitely around you, stands in a very, very protective position for you, so just know that he's protecting you at all times. My mom's calling my phone, and I don't know why she's doing that.
Are you hooked up to Bluetooth? Can you double check that? It's got Rodecaster.
Oh, I wonder if that's what's going on.
Yeah, and while we're with this, I just want to respond. Stephanie, thank you for offering sort of counterpoints to things. When you said you just wanted a message, anything that would actually mean something to me, otherwise I have to pay for it, pay to get that. This system this show does not solicit paid services. That's not what we're doing this for. Obviously, that's how you make your living, Tessa. And yes, your time has value. And in this case, one of the things about your sincerity that's very obvious to everyone, and I think everyone who watches would agree, is that you don't solicit with each call to try and get them to call you. It's not a ploy you use to say, well, I'm getting something, but you should call me. That's not what you do. You're offering readings when you can receive them and when you're clear on what is being said from both sides or requested. So I just want to remind Stephanie and others that it's not that we're trying to compel anyone to pay for anything, but not everything can be done in a comment on Facebook or a call even.
Yeah, absolutely not. And yeah, I mean, like I said, if you do want a reading, you may absolutely, what I did was I set my career aside. I don't know anybody who knows my actual background, and I'm not here to defend myself whatsoever. I'm way past that in my lifetime. But, I set aside my career that I went to school for. I had a master's, and I set it aside because my calling was to do this. And I told the universe, I'm like, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm supposed to be helping people in this way, I have to be able to feed my kids. And that's where I kind of jumped in and found a way to do it on, a stage and fulfill my passion for entertainment and everything like that. So there's always like this misconception with people about, mediums or paranormal or whatever, and how you have to pay to do so. But I mean, people want and need, you know, our guidance. And there's a group of people who do, there's a group of people who don't believe in it, and that's fine. But in order for me to fulfill my passion, you know, I obviously have to be able to take care of my kids and stuff like that too. And this is why I do, you know, and I'm very lucky to be able to have a career and do what I do, what I love, and help people the way that I do, and fulfill both sides. So yeah. Anyways, so my mom's calling. Mom, if you want to call back, she keeps calling, so she knows I'm live. If she has something to say, she can absolutely call back. But I won't spend any more time addressing any of those things. Nope. So, hi, Johnny. Thank you for coming on here. You know, Peter, I wrote down a couple more questions.
Yes, I've got a good one here for you.
Awesome.
Isn't it dangerous to talk to the dead?
You know, people are very scared of it. There's a group of people, I mean, and I think with it being it's more well known now, you know, and people, hold on one second. I'm going to put my mom on here. Hold on one second, Ma. Okay. The question was, is it dangerous to talk to the dead? It's not dangerous to talk to the dead, at least from what I understand. I mean, there are entities and there are things out there that can definitely mess with you. But I think if you're very centered within yourself, and I think that if you are, you know, I think if you can protect yourself from things, you know, they can't physically harm you most of the time. It's more of a mental thing. And so you do get worn down and stuff like that. And it happens to me. And that's why I do what I do as a performer. It kind of re-energizes me. And you have to take care of yourself. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's dangerous. It can be draining. It could be tiring. But I haven't experienced it being dangerous, at least for myself. Well, my mom's pranking us tonight, so...
That's it.
She keeps calling me. But at least we found out that Bluetooth works now. So for those of you who have tried to call in, the call-in number is 226-0693. So you can go ahead and call in if you'd like, if you have a question or a reading. And then I think there was another question that I had writing down.
Oh, there was. Can anyone be a medium?
Ooh, that's a really good question. No, because what I consider, as a medium, I consider it, you hear people refer to it as a gift. I refer to it as an ability. So if you think about it, you know, people have many, many different abilities, you know, and some people use their abilities to be a doctor, to be a teacher, or to fulfill other areas. And so what I do, my ability, I use it in this way. And so, you know, can anybody be a medium? No. It's like saying, can anybody be a doctor? No. I don't personally believe that. I think everybody has a level of intuition, and I think some people have it more so than others. And I think with that intuition that you have, you find a niche or a path for yourself that you're drawn to do. So I hope that answers the question. Let's see what she has to say. Are you there, Ma?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Gail.
This is my mother, Gail. She is also a medium. I wasn't sure if you were pranking me or if you were actually calling to talk.
No, I was actually calling because you had mentioned, you know, about your son, Gigi, who has our ability.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool because when I dropped Bree off today, you know, Stacy had mentioned that, you know, how loving and how caring Gian is, and, you know, how he's always hugging Bree when he sees her. But the other day, Gian was waiting in the hallway near the door. And when they came in, he goes to Bree, he goes, I was waiting for you. I wanted to walk with you. And she was like, well, how did you know I was coming? He goes, I just knew it. Like, you know, and Stacy was kind of like blown away because she was like, wow, he's already that intuitive.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah, I refer to him as G. G is my oldest son. He's 6 years old, and he carries the exact same ability as me and you, Mom. And he is, I mean, I think it was probably, he was about, and we did that whole, you know, segment on kids and their abilities, but, you know, he's been showing signs of that really since he was literally born. Like, we just knew the minute that he was born that there was something to him. He was intuitive, he was special. And then as he started talking and getting older, he was just so in tune with everybody and everything, you know. And when my grandmother died, Grandma Londa, she died, what was it, 2 years ago now? He called it.
Almost 3, yeah.
Almost 3.
Mm-hmm.
He called it the night before and then the morning of, and he was only like 3. He was going to pre-K, and he literally was like, "Mommy, why is Nana going to the Angels?" And then the following day he said, you know, Nana went to the Angels, and I called Dad, and Dad was there with Grandma, and she had passed. So that's really interesting. So he just knew. Yeah, he's very intuitive, and kids will do that. They just have a sense of intuition, a sense of, yeah, that's interesting. And he's been doing that more and more.
He walked over to the door, and he stood there, and then in she came. And he says, "I knew you were coming, so I wanted to walk with you."
Yeah.
And, you know, you drop him off, and he didn't see anybody there. So, you know, they go in different doors. So he walked over to her door.
Yeah. Yeah.
So awesome. I just thought that was interesting.
Oh, it is.
And when you mentioned him, I was like, well, you know what? Let me let her know.
Yeah, so that would be his cousin. So he just knew that she was coming. And he's so caring. He is for everybody. He's so protective and so caring. And you'll see that with anybody who has empathic abilities, is they just have that sense of nurturing, that sense of, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. When am I going to get you in here to do readings with me, since you won't ever address it?
We want you back, Gail.
She doesn't talk, like she won't answer me. I ask her over and over, so I'm just going to put her on the spot.
Let me ask. Gail, when are you coming in to join us here? Peter Green here.
Peter Green.
Soon, Peter, soon.
Soon is a relative term, okay? And you're a mom. You know how to say that. We'd love to have you back in, though.
Yeah.
I will. I promise I will. But I just wanted to call in and tell you that little tidbit that I just heard probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, he's still using it, you know, and more it's coming out of him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you for telling me that.
Okay. And I'll talk to you later. Bye,
Love
Peter.
you.
Bye, Gail.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you, too.
Bye.
So interesting. Yeah, it's a perfect example. I think I'm going to take one more call or one more message. And I know there's been people calling in. I think my Bluetooth just wasn't working to begin with, but yeah, but it's working now. So
you know, something we could just share with the audience was when we first set up the show. Our goal was at some points to have a studio audience in here. Mm-hmm. Of course, with COVID, this building has been closed the entire time. And so we're hopeful that at some point when this building reopens, certain nights, not every week, but you can have people come into the studio and interact with you personally, you know, listeners who've been with us, whatever criteria we come up with. But I'm really hoping that they open the building, of course, for heading into second wave. And you're getting a call, aren't you?
I am. Yep, I am. Let's take that one. Hi, you're on A Night with a Medium.
Hello.
Hi, who am I talking with and where are you calling from?
My name is Sarah. I'm calling from Myrtle, South Carolina.
Oh, hi. Thanks so much for calling in. Do you have a question for me?
Yes, I was wondering if you could connect with my daughter.
Okay. Can I have her first name?
Her first name's Julia.
Okay. Was this more of a recent thing within the last couple years? Because the minute that I started picking up on her, energetically to me, I can tell the difference. And for some reason, she feels, it could be one of two things, but it feels more recent. Did this happen more recently?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it was almost 2 years.
Okay, yeah, because energetically it feels different. And to me, she feels very anxious, which not in a bad way, anxious to talk. It's almost like, you know, oh my gosh, I finally get the chance to talk. And whenever they're anxious like that, it means that they passed more recently. So I do want to say, number one, she's around you a lot. She's been really trying to connect with you. Have you felt kind of like detached from feeling any signs from her? Because she says, my mom's a little frustrated because you feel like you haven't.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so she's really excited. I want you to know, number one, she comes across very happy, very much at peace, but very anxious to talk to you because she says you feel very detached and that you haven't been getting many signs from her. So she wants to know, and I'm going to address this to you because it's very true, and this is more of a general thing that people can understand. When you're grieving and when things are very difficult and sad for you, we kind of block ourselves from our own intuition. It's an unconscious thing that you do because we're grieving, and it's a protection mode. So it's not that she's not there. I want you to know she's there. But you're protecting yourself. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Did her passing happen was it quickly near the end there? Because she just showed me like a slope that was like, either you didn't expect her to pass right at that time, and it just happened so fast that you felt like she just kind of slipped away from you. And she's, what was the decision that you had to make near the end in regards to that? Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
she showed me the light switch.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Whenever Spirit shows me what she just showed me, like, they show me like a plug of some sort or something that has to do with a decision in regards to her passing. And and there's also something about paperwork too. So I'm going to try to get to as much as I can really quick with you. But she's saying that it's almost like you weren't sure what exactly to do in this moment, but you made the best decision that you possibly could. And she doesn't want you to feel bad about that because things did happen so quickly for her that she said, I just want my mom to be okay with the decisions that they had to make. She goes, I'm fine.
Oh, good.
Was there something that was like overlooked for a while or misdiagnosed? Whenever Spirit shows me like checklists like this, it means that something was not found in time, overlooked, like something in that category. Does that make sense to you as well?
It does, yes, ma'am.
She goes, can you also stop feeling bad about that?
They waited too long. Yeah, they waited too long to put her on a lung transplant list.
Okay, that might be why I feel like I'm like, it's hard for me to breathe a little bit. Because she said, I don't want her to feel bad that there's nothing that you could have done, though. You understand that. She goes, there's nothing that could have changed this outcome. And she really wants you to release that from you because she says, my mom walks around with such a weight that she goes, I just want her to be happy now and know that I'm okay. And she thanks you for being there with her throughout everything. And I know that the decision was really hard for you, but she said, she just keeps reiterating, I'm fine, I'm there with you. There's a lot that I really want to say, and do you sleep with something of hers? I know that okay, because I don't want to get too personal. I try to really avoid getting too personal on here, but she's very adamant. She goes, can you at least let her know that I know she sleeps with something of mine every night, and this connects her to you. So even though you might not feel her there, please know that she's there and she knows that you do these little things.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so sorry for your loss. You're very strong, and I really hope that this gave you a little bit of validation for you that she's okay and she's around you.
It did. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for calling in.
Have a nice week.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay. Well, now I know where my, I don't know if you noticed it, Peter, but I had been like very heavy in the chest.
Yeah.
And I was like hard for me to breathe today. And I've been picking up, I think, on her daughter for quite some time. So it was actually really great that she called in. All right. Well, I don't think there's any more questions that I gave to you from before, right?
Nope.
Okay. So, so if you do want to book a private reading with me, feel free to contact me privately via email, tessadelzappo@gmail.com, until my website is up and running, which should be fairly soon. And you can definitely follow me on Facebook. I have a lot of different things going on, a lot of things coming up. So contact me. Thank you so much for tuning in and for supporting me. And I will see you guys next week.